Y'all don't play with me today. Y'all have a seat, have a seat, have a seat. And if you don't mind, give God a praise for what he's about to tell you. Come on. God has more. God has more. Have you noticed God has planned a way of escape out of some stuff before it has an opportunity to destroy me? God has already made a way of escape out of some stuff. Some stuff I got myself in. Y'all, okay, listen, let me tell y'all up front, this for me, all right? If you don't get nothing out of it, that's all right. This going to bless me. Can I preach it the way I feel it? God has made a way out of some stuff before it had an opportunity to destroy my family. Before it had an opportunity to destroy my finances. Before it had an opportunity, Sister Raina, to destroy my future. God has made a way and a way of escape. So in order to get my attention, God has, here it is, dispatched angels unaware all around me. Because Sister Denise, listen, I almost messed my own self up. Can I preach it the way I feel it? Listen, I almost to destroy my family, my finances, my future. But in order to get my attention, Lady Monica, God dispatched angels unaware all around me. Here it is to coach me into changing my mind. To coach me to rethink what I was about to say. To change my mind about where I was about to roll up onto. To change my mind before I opened up my mouth. Angels was all around saying, you probably don't want to say that. You probably don't want to think that. And this is just my sermon on today. You probably don't want to go there. Because listen, God has more. I need y'all to declare that with me. God has more. Oh, say it with your preaching voice. God has more. And so I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm going to preach this thing. Angels are dispatched all around me. That's why. And they just constantly reminding me that I am not alone. So listen, I need you to, if you don't do anything else in terms of an assignment, Sister J, on today, this assignment, can y'all take this assignment home? So show some hospitality to your strangers. Because you don't know. Listen, they've been assigned to make sure you don't mess yourself up. They've been assigned to make sure you don't destroy your family. They've been assigned to make sure you don't destroy your finances. They're trying to make sure you don't destroy yourself. So show some hospitality to your strangers. So the question is, why are we here? Why am I in a place where I'm almost about to mess up? Why am I here? Why are we fighting to stay in some stuff that God has clearly trying to get us out of? Got angels trying to coach us, trying to get you to change your mind. Why am I here? Why am I here? Why am I here? I just want to just push this text on today because I'm trying to tell you you're not alone. I'm trying to tell you you got more. I'm trying to tell you you ain't walking this life by yourself. I'm trying to push into your mind encouragement so you can do it better. You can say it better. You can believe better. You can talk better. You can act better because listen, you got to do this. You got to let some stuff go and don't look back. Because God got more. So you got to let some stuff go. I know you got on my nerves. I know I want to tell you off. I know I want to do something else. But you got to let it go and don't look back. Because behind you is nothing. And what you got to understand, I know the enemy, Sister Angela, will try to trick us into believing what's behind me is greater. What's behind me is better. What's behind me is what I need, but you got to understand less is more. What's behind me ain't got nothing to do with what God has for me. And I want you to know, and the reason why God trying to tell your crazy self, you got more. But you got to leave that behind you. I understand. I know. Y'all going to get this later on when you're eating your eggs, but less is more. You got to walk away from some stuff. You got to walk away from some people. You got to walk away from some places and understand that I cannot look back. Can y'all walk with me around the text? So we found the story of Lot's wife who turned into a pillar of salt. In other words, Lady Monica, she turned into a stone. A stone for which we now talk about because she looked back to her old life. And that is, the angels of the Lord warned Lot to flee Sodom and Gomorrah, a place God was about to destroy. But God's plan involved getting Lot, his wife, and his daughters out of there before they were going to be destroyed. And despite the warning, Lot stayed in Sodom a little too long. And I want you to know, some of us, in terms of looking back simply means you ended up with that no good joker because you looked at him too long. All right. All right. Yeah. All right. Mm-hmm. That's the truth. You looked at her too long. Hips and thighs, you can't handle that. You got to let that go. Amen. You listen, if my testimony was I didn't touch alcohol till I got to law school. And the truth is I hung out with them too long, those that were drinking. You got to be careful. You got to be careful because if you stay there, if you linger there, if you hang out there, if you spend time there, chances are you're going to become the environment. And this might come, if you don't understand that, then you don't understand how the devil works. Because the Bible declares he is what? Walking to and fro. Seeking. In other words, he's just trying to get your attention. Seeking who he may what? Devour. And so it prompted the angels to go get him. But she drug her feet and she just began to linger there too long. And the flood of liquid lava, Elder Reed, completely covered her. Because the Bible declared that Sodom was destroyed and all it was lava. Matter of fact, Sister Ebony, if you go there now, they're still digging up, listen, things for which that were in Sodom. That reminded them that it was literally something that overtook them. They literally are finding people that were in this posture, like, because the lava overtook them. And they were in Sodom too long. They were in Gomorrah too long. And I want you to know, literally, if you stay there too long, all of a sudden you're going to be like, how did I get covered with this? How did I end up in this? How did this get associated with my name? How in the world did I end up in? Okay, that's all right. And listen, it is because they stayed there and she stayed there and she got covered in lava and became the victim of her sinful ways. So I'm going to push it on this morning. I'm going to get out your way. How can we experience the more of God and not fall into the fallacy, here it is, of our feelings? How can we experience the more of God? How many of y'all want the more of God? How about, maybe this sermon will make sense if I figure that out. How many of y'all want the more of God? You want the more of God. You want the more of God. And listen, but if you want the more of God, you got to understand, you got to get out your feelings. You got to get out your feelings. And we see how easy it is to become part of the few people that never experience the fullness of God. Some people will never get the fullness of God. That's all right. You say, you sanctified, you're going to go to heaven. That ain't the problem. The problem is this, you'll never fully get the blessings that God has for you. How many of y'all want the fullness? I want everything. Every car, every house, every piece of money, every good mind. I'm telling you, I want to be here with a good mind. I'm going to steal Sister Denise's mind. I want to be here in my 70s and 80s, and I want the mind of Christ. I don't want no Alzheimer's and dementia. I want the fullness of everything God has for me. So how can I be a part of that fullness, preacher? How can I do that? Lot and his wife can teach us God has more when we, number one, progress in your point of view. You got to progress. Come on, say progress in your point of view. In other words, what is the cost of doing it my way? What is the cost? What is the cost of my family? What is the cost of my finances doing it my way? I want you to know that every decision has either a negative or a positive consequence. Genesis 19:16 says it this way, but he lingered, being Lot. He lingered. Too much of Lot's heart was still in Sodom. Perhaps because of the sadness at the prospect of losing all his property. Some of us make bad decisions talking about, well, I invested so much into him. We was in high school and college, girl, you better let that man go. You know, I ain't no big fan of trying to break up stuff, but listen, I want you to know God's got more. He's got more. I know he looked good as a Hershey bar walking towards you, and she looked good as a Coke bottle, but God's got more. And so you can't linger talking about, listen, you know, I didn't put some time into it. Yeah, you're going to put some time in, all right. You don't let that joker. But anyway, let me get back to my text. So the heart, perhaps why Lot stayed in Sodom too long, was because his heart was paralyzed by the thoughts of this awful impending crisis of this lava that was going to cover up Sodom. And I want y'all to know, let's be realistic. Before the lava hit the ground, he was thinking, that's all my property. That's my houses. That's my cattle out there. That's everything I work for. Come on, y'all be human for a minute. Can y'all be human for a minute? I've worked hard for mine. Listen, I love my little house. And the lava was about to overtake it, and he probably just thinking about it. Lord, have mercy. I remember we put that roof on. I remember we finally got enough money to scrape up to get the furniture in there. Can y'all be human for a minute? I remember we had to bust up the concrete and get a new driveway. I remember when my kids were born in that house. I just remember he just perhaps was just standing there thinking. So he did not have an urgency to leave the city. I want you to know, when the angels come, when they angels unaware, tell you to get out of there. When the angels are aware, you're strangers. Your angels say, don't do that, don't say that, don't go there. When they do that, and you got to get some urgency about you. I know y'all don't like that kind of preaching. Listen, Elder Reed, one thing we don't like is instructions. Your angels are going to give you instructions. They're your coaches. They are your coaches. They are your coaches, and you got to listen to them. And the lack of urgency to obey God is a common sign, I'm going to turn around, of backsliding. You say, but you're backsliding. Here's a question. When I deal with saved folks and I talk to saved folks, and even in my own life as my bishop was dealing with me, the question is, when you talk to a saved person, are they walking towards God or are they walking away from God? And the interesting thing, you gotta figure that out. You're saved. That's not the issue. You're sanctified. That's not the issue. The issue is, are you pressing in towards God? Do we find you consistently in Bible class? Do we find you consistently saved and doing what saved people do? Or do we see you and you just really not there? You're lukewarm. And that's the problem in this text, is there's no urgency. There's no urgency. There's no urgency. And I want you to know that's just simply meaning you in a backslidden condition. In other words, we almost compromising. I was talking to Elder Reed before service started. I ain't going to call no names about a national preacher. But the problem is, when people are in a place of compromise, you can hear it in their voice. Y'all know what I'm talking about. They compromise, and they ain't fully said, I ain't saved, but they acting like it. Genesis 19:6, because I love this. I love this. Sometimes, Sister J, we can be in a place. I love Sister J. That's my little sisters. I can talk to her. We can fully, really, I'm not really there yet. I'm walking this thing out. I'm trying. I'm getting used to this God thing, because I really want to be Frank Sinatra and do it my way. That's really what I really want to do. But I love the God we serve, because 19:16 says it this way, the B part of it, but the Lord being merciful to Lot, because he was lukewarm. He wasn't all the way there. He didn't move in urgency. But the Lord being merciful to him, and they bought him out and set him outside the city. In other words, the angels of the Lord snatched him with your lukewarm self. They snatched him and said, you ain't going to be consumed by this lava that's coming. And I thank God for the angels that snatched me out of some stuff, that snatched me out of some things in my life. Come on, give God praise one more time, one more time, one more time, one more time. Yes. That ain't good enough. Thank you, God, for sending people to snatch me out of my lukewarm self, with my backslidden self, with my I'm not all the way self, not moving in the things of God fast enough. Thank you, God, because you brought me out. If you want more, and anyone who wants more from God can have it. Look at somebody and say, I can have it. I can have it. Come on, Sister Jay, say, I can have it. It's mine. It's mine. It's mine. It's mine. First thing you got to do is progress in your viewpoint. First thing you got to do is progress in your viewpoint. You got to ask yourself, if you're going to write this down to today, Anna, what's it going to cost to do it my way? What's it going to cost to do it my way? You got to start growing in how you're thinking. Number 2, access the impending mess. You have to assess what's coming. Assess the impending mess. What do you mean, preacher? I'm simply saying my well-being is protected when I'm in the hands of God. It's protected since today when I'm in the hands of God. God's got my back when I'm in his hands. So what you got to do, Sister Diana, is you got to assess the mess that's coming if you do it your way. Because there's going to be some mess. The text says that Lot's wife was what? Covered by lava. Now she's a stone of memory. She's a memory. That's all she is. She gone now. She's a stone. Potential robbed. Potential snatched away. Because she had to look back. Number three, Sister Angela, invest more time with God. Progress. Come on, say progress. Assess. Invest. Can I do it one more time? This is just for me. This is my little Easter speech on today. Progress. Assess. Invest. The third is invest more time with God. Invest more time with God. Be careful how you approach your future. You ought not approach your future without going to God first. Sister Ebony, God got greater for you. But he said, spend a little bit more time with me. Yesterday, as I funeralized Sister Angela's father, the point I made in the text is, I'm finding myself challenged right now with Instagram Reels. That's my testimony. I'm being challenged with Facebook Reels. I'm like, this is all right. You know, a little 30 seconds. But the problem is, look, 30 seconds end up being minutes. Minutes become hours. And before long, I've not spent any time with God. That's me. I'm telling off on myself. What you doing? What is robbing you from spending time with God? Come on, say progress in your mind. Assess the mess you're going to get yourself in if you don't spend time with God. And invest more time with God. Y'all saying, come on. I surrender.